the mainstream media, places like TalkSport, have been giving this ridiculous event coverage as though it was a legitimate thing. Even this morning, in preparation for the stream, I'm taking a look at different channels and whatnot, and I'm hearing a guy on TalkSport Noble going into the backstage area of the fight and talking about, congratulations, brother. And I'm saying to myself, you lot are still continuing this facade on, even though it's actually now happened. What was done was an absolute embarrassment, not only to the sport of boxing, but to the integrity of just it was an embarrassment, Noble. It was an old man, like I said, who was blowing at his ass after round one. Naturally, he's a 58-year-old man. This stigma about Mike Tyson being this dangerous, baddest man on the planet, it's amazing that they've been able to carry over this thing so many generations later. It was ridiculous. It was dangerous, but it was pantomime. This is the new sports entertainment. And what I mean by that is this type of event is the new version of WWE, where fights are, the build-ups are actually what sells the event, and the event's just almost like a game kind of thing. I mean, there was definitely some shots landed, but you could see that Jake Paul was holding back. I mean, he hit Tyson with something in the first round. He hit him with like a straight right, I believe. Could have been the second. And you could see at that moment, like Tyson almost like looked like to say, yo, what you doing? And he held back. And what it is that's fine. Do these exhibitions, do these fights, do it. You know what I mean? But don't sell it as though it's a real thing, because it's embarrassing, Noble. It's really embarrassing that these things are sold as though they are competitive. Like, in the build up to the fight, when they show backstage, Jake Paul's like sitting down, like rocking, like, I'm like, what are you doing? You're going to fight a 58-year-old man. Anybody who was talking about Tyson had a chance to hit him with something, like, people are really lost. And for me, it's very frustrating how far we've fallen as a species, man. Like, it's crazy, Noble, that people are we're actually selling this thing as though, to me, it's crazy. And I feel like every time I talk about these fights, Noble, I'm almost like the Grinch that stole Christmas, because it's an embarrassment, Noble. It's an absolute embarrassment to people's common sense, man. And when I'm seeing people say, he shouldn't have been in there, I'm like, you knew that before it started.
The devolution of humanity and mankind from an intelligence standpoint, intelligentsia, where has that gone? We've said over 10 years ago there is no such thing as common sense. Where is the sense gone from people? You get in boomers, Gen X's all throughout saying, yo, Iron Mike Tyson is going to destroy this kid. It's not even fair. And I'm saying to them, wait a minute, are you in a time machine or something? You do know that this is the Gregorian year of 2024. Mike Tyson is near in his age where he can actually get assistance from the government, an OAP, yeah? We're not talking about Mike Tyson in his prime, pre-prison, or even post-prison when he wasn't as dangerous as he once was. It's stunning. And I'm not talking about just casuals that are remarking and DMing me and having conversations verbally about this. We're talking about people who love the sport, who love the sport of pugilism, not just combat sports. We're not just talking about MMA casuals who grew up and remember Tyson biting man's ear off and knocking one's out in the first round and all. No. Everybody, unfortunately, the spell was casted and everybody was hypnotized. I would say 60+% of the population on this plane of existence were hypnotized. And we're like, yo, Tyson's going to do this thing. He's going to shut this kid up. This Disney kid who's been picking fights. Look Didn't we break this down last week, Mark?
We did.
He has manicured, as boxers do. I mean, it's divorcing yourself from reality to get involved in the fantasy. It's like life now for people is a straight fantasy, la reality.
Now, I'm not saying that Mike shouldn't get his coins. That is absolutely fine, but don't sell this thing like it's a real thing. Talking about, yeah, I'm a real killer. You're You're not no killer. That thug from Brownsville has not been that person for 30 years.
Plus.
Like, when people are sitting in podcasts talking about, oh, they're scared of Tyson and my man could flip. Like, yeah, he could, and then he'll be sued. Like, stop allowing them to sell you this idea that being an aggressive man is an option. It's not for anybody. Like, this is where people get tricked out of their position. Tyson is human just like anybody else, but what it is Jake Paul comes from a Disney background. He comes from a YouTube background, very successful. What that means is he has a network of people that they're interested in anything he does. So with that being said, Jake Paul has been able to sell these events as though he's a real boxer. Now, you've got to give credit where it's due, because he's still jumping in there with combat athletes and winning. You know, whether a guy is an ex-UFC champion, he's got stand-up. I'm not saying that he's got any kind of good level of stand-up, but he's got stand-up. And Jake Paul's going in there and doing, like, you know, he's knocking these guys out. Tyron Woodley, he's knocked down Anderson Silva. He's done a lot. I mean, for what he's done, you definitely have to give this guy credit. But what he's doing now is selling these events as though that they are real competitive fights. And what I seen was an old man stepping into that ring who's living in the past, jumped in the ring, and he just looked tired. He just looked fed up. You know, he at one point, when he went back in round 2, I thought they were going to be like, nah, he's not coming back out, because his heart was pumping 1,000,000 miles a second. And it's not good, man. You can't even, to sell yourself like that. A Tyson, for me, I feel like those who were around him should have taught him out of doing that. Because to sell yourself as though this guy's really beat Mike Tyson, you haven't. Like, why don't we get Sugar Ray Leonard in there next? It's a young man's sport. That's it. Like, whether people want to hear it or not, this is a young man's sport. But how a facade like this ends up on Netflix, Noble, is like this. Netflix are looking to step into sport. Not only are they going to step into sport, they're bringing a live element into sport. Netflix are by far the leading streaming platform. They have the most seamless navigation system. So what do? They decide, we'll take something like this and put it on the platform because it is going to bring eyes. And they can test out the software, test out the hardware. And that's what happened last night. What was happening is you got to see the teething problems. Okay, you know, there might be a bit of issues on this side. They might need to take down the, like the quality. Because at times the quality would drop. So it might not be able to stream on a 4K level. You might have to bring it down to a 10. This is what this whole event was for.
Beta test sibling. There was many people on the old Twitter talking about, yeah, man, this, what's going on? It's buffering. I'm having problems. I was putting up all kind of damn gifs and all kind of things, saying how it's mad about how long they're having to wait. From what I saw, I didn't have no problems at all. I didn't have no problems in regards to bufferage and all. But from what I saw from a live aspect, the only technicals I saw was their sound. So when you had like Evander Holyfield, Lennox with his big dotty Zulu beads on, salute to the champ, man, salute to the champ. Who else? Who was that light skin?
Andre Ward.
No, the female. Who was she with the English accent?
Oh, she was in she was with Sky Sports at one point.
So that part, because Evander couldn't hear nothing, and Lennox kept on leaning in and feeding him all the question. Yo, no, I'm not talking about biting his ear off and all that. So that element, that was the only real, in my opinion, obviously not really fully scrutinizing it, actually taking in the events. That was one of the things that they'll need to get right. But outside of that, I think they did a 90+% good job of that production. The production value was top notch.
You know what people were saying after? Oh, Jake Paul. They said to his dad, "How proud of you that your son beat the great Mike Tyson." I'm like, "What are you talking? You never you beat an old man, a 58-year-old man who's been smoking, who's been vaping, who's been taking magic mushrooms, who's been doing all kind of things. You don't just train for 6 months and erase all of that damage you've done for 10 years.
Come on.
Like, let's get real here. Like, this is Jake Paul. What he's done is it's good for him, but it's sports entertainment. The mainstream media have fallen that low. When I was watching this Gareth A. Davis on TalkSport.
Oh, Gareth.
I was like, are these, man, who's cutting the check? Who's paying the wages over there? Are you guys actually covering sport, or is this a joke to you? Like, he was like, congratulations, brother. Congratulations, you did it. You manifested it. I'm like, what are you talking about? A 58-year-old man. It doesn't matter what he was doing in his 20s. It doesn't matter what he was doing in his 30s. Right now, he's a 58-year-old man.